Oops, not this. Okay. So I think you should see the book any second now.
هذا مش البوك.
مطلعش البوك مازال. Okay. Let's see. المفروض تو بيطلع. Can you see the book now? Oops. Okay, sorry. Face to face. Yes. Okay, I think now you can see the book. Can everybody see the book? All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
All right. Excellent. All right. So let's talk about our first lesson here. So in our first lesson, we'll talk about a few common phrases, some question words, and a quick review of some of the previous grammar that you studied in elementary A and B. Okay, so let's start with vocabulary and speaking. Okay, so we have some common phrases here. So we have a number of phrases, and we can divide these phrases into phrases that are related to the family, or maybe work, or free time, or study. So if you think this phrase is related to family, we can write F. If you think this phrase is related to work, we can use W, free time, FT, and we can also use S if you think it's related to study, okay? So of course, if you're married, to be married, this is related to family.
Family.
Yeah. What about have children? What do you think?
Family.
Family, okay. Go to college, go to school, go to university. What do you think?
Work.
Study.
I think study more, right? But I think if you're a doctor or a professor in the university, then also work, right?
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
maybe you can also use work, so study and work maybe. What about the next one? Have an interesting job. What's this related to?
Free time.
Do you think free
Work.
time, Hannah, or work?
Work.
Exciting.
And
Interesting.
interesting, but it's a job, right? It's an interesting job. So it means if it's a job, this means it's
Work.
yeah, it's related to work. Yeah. Go to the cinema a lot.
Free time.
Free time.
I think free time. To be unemployed.
Work.
Correct.
Work.
Yeah, it's related to work. But how is it related to work? How do you think being unemployed is related to work, in your opinion? How so?
Between job.
Yes, Hannah, because someone. Sorry.
Between job.
Between jobs. Oh yes, okay, that's correct. It means the person. Okay, question. A person who is unemployed, does he have a job or no job?
No job.
No job, correct. That's correct. Okay, sorry, just give me 1 second. There's a student I forgot to send the link to. Let me send the link to another student. Okay. Can you still see the book? What about have brothers or sisters?
No.
Family.
Family.
Yeah, I think this one is easy. It's related to family. Play video games.
Free
Free
time.
time.
Free time.
Free time. Correct.
Free time.
Yeah, that's correct. But did you know that have you heard of professional players? Have you heard of this? Professional players? Have you heard of, yeah, what does it mean, a professional player? What does it mean?
Work.
It means work, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know that professional players make millions of dollars playing video games? Did you know about that? Have you heard of this or no?
Yes.
This is true because when they play competitions, or tournaments, international tournaments, they usually win millions of dollars. So for some people, not for normal people like us, but for some people, it's a job. Playing video games, it's a job. It's work, I mean. All right, next one, work for a big or small company. What do you think?
Work.
Yeah, of course,
Work.
this is work. Yeah, correct. What about chat to friends online? What's this?
Free time.
Yeah, this is free time activity.
Free
correct?
time.
Right, right. What about have a degree?
Study.
Correct. Yeah. If you want a degree, you need to study. That's correct. Go to concerts?
Free time.
Correct.
Free time.
Correct. Work at the weekends?
Free time.
Work.
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 Work. Yeah, it means you don't even have a free time because you have to work at the weekends
Yes,
as well.
have. Yes,
Yeah,
have.
that's the problem. Yeah. All right. What about study another language?
Study.
Study.
It's study, but can you do
Study.
it? Can you do
Free-
it for free time?
Yes.
Rabia,
Yes, you can.
I think you can, right? If you have
Yeah.
free time and maybe
Yeah.
you want to learn a new language, maybe you
Yes, study.
maybe you speak English and you want to learn Spanish or Italian or something. All right, very nice. So these are just some common phrases, some of the things we can do which are related to family life, work, free time, or study. Okay, let's check our second exercise here. So it says, tick the phrases in number 1 that are true for you now or in the past. Use phrases from number 1 and your ideas. All right, so here we want to use these phrases to talk about ourselves. So for example, to be married, if you want to talk about yourself, you can say, I'm married and I have 3 children. Or you can say, I'm not married and I don't have children, for example. You can also talk about other things. You can say, for example, I like chatting to friends online, and I also like to play online video games. So you can use these things to talk about yourself a bit, okay? So I'd like you, all of you, so we can do this in turns. So let's choose, you can choose 2, or let's say 3. You can choose 2 or 3 things from the list here, and you can talk about yourself using these things. Of course, you can also talk about them in the past. So you can say, for example, 2 years ago, I studied French in school. So you can also talk about it in the past. It doesn't have to be true now, okay? Or if you want, you can also use the future. You can say, next year, I'm going to get married, for example, or next year, I'm going to work for a big company, right? So here, it's flexible. It's a speaking question. Talk about these things any way you want. So we only want 3 things. All right, so let's start. Who'd like to start first? Let's see. Would you like to try first, Abrar? To talk about these things? Choose anything any points you like, Abrar.
Next year, I have exams.
Okay.
Next week, I have exams.
Next week, I have exams. What about
last year I go to the cinema a lot in Turkey.
Okay, very nice. But you need to change it. You need to change it to the past, right? So last year I. What's the correct?
Went.
Very good. Excellent. Last year I went. Very good. Last year I went to the cinema a lot in Turkey. Very good example. Okay, Abrar, can you give us one last example? Okay, but two is okay. You don't have to do a third one. 2 is okay. Okay, so we have Khadija. Okay, Khadija raised her hand. Would you like to try, Khadija?
Yeah, I was unemployed before, but now I have an interesting job.
Great. What do you do, Khadija?
I'm a doctor.
Nice,
Physician.
excellent. That's great. All right, so you were unemployed in the past, but now you have an interesting job. You work as a physician. Nice.
Yeah.
Give us another one. Choose something else to talk about.
Okay. I have 2 brothers and 4 sisters. Yeah. I don't have any children. I'm not married yet.
All right, excellent. That's good. Okay. So these are some good examples. You talked about almost 4 points. Very nice. Okay, thanks, Khadija. Let's see someone else. Who else would like to tell us a little bit about themselves? Hannah, would you like to try?
I work at school for children.
Okay.
And I study another language in free time.
Very nice. So you worked in a children's school and you studied another language in your free time. Do you still study another language in your free time, or is it over? Have you finished?
I still.
All right. Very nice. So which language do you study in your free time?
English.
Ah, right. Yes, you're doing it now, right? Okay, excellent. Very good points. All right, nice. Who else would like to tell us a little bit about themselves using... okay.
Me,
Please.
maybe.
Yeah, okay. Who's this? Nani? Is this?
Dr. Nero.
Okay, hi, Dr. Maris. Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, tell us about yourself.
I have an interesting job. I usually work at the weekends. I like to chat to friends online. And I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. I studied another language from 2 years ago, the Deutsch language. So
Okay, that's great. That's excellent. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, very nice. So you can see here, you can talk about yourselves in many different ways. You can talk about things you did in the past, things you want to do in the future. And you can also, of course, talk about things which are true now. Okay, so now let's move on to our next topic, which is reading. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of reading here. It says, write the names of 3 famous British people. Why are they famous? Let's think of 3 famous British people. Who can think of 3 famous British people? Samiha, would you like to...
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Hi, Samiha, how are you?
Everyone. I'm fine, thanks. What about you, doctor?
Alhamdulillah, good. I'm okay.
What are you talking about?
Okay, here we're talking about British people. The question we have here is they want us to think of 3 British people, 3 famous British people, not any British people. And we need to say, why are they famous, or what makes them famous? So here we're trying to get some kind of vote maybe on the 3 most famous British people. Who would you like to nominate? Samiha?
Princess Diana, maybe.
Okay, Princess Diana is a
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare. Okay, let's write some of them and then we can agree. So we have Princess Diana. Princess. And we have Shakespeare. Who else is famous? Someone who's British and famous. Man or women? Or woman. Present or past? Anybody you can think of? Who else? Rabia, what do you think? Can you think of any famous British people?
I don't know. I think J.K. Rowling, I think.
That's an excellent example. She's one of the richest. She's actually, I think, the richest woman now in Britain because of her books. Very, very famous British person. Great, Rabia. Let's see, someone else who would like. Who else do you think?
Adele, I think.
Adele is quite famous. She's a
actor.
famous. Is she an actor or a singer?
A singer, yes.
Singer.
I think she's a singer. She's quite famous.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. She's a good choice. Who else? Let's think of two others.
Martha Stewart, I think.
Is she British, Martha Stewart?
I'm
She's
not sure.
American.
I think she's American,
I don't-
right?
Oh, okay. I think.
She is very famous. I agree, but she's not British. Any others?
Queen Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth? Yeah, very, very famous.
The
And very old. I think she's immortal. She doesn't want to die. Yeah, Queen Elizabeth, also another famous Brit. Okay, I think these are very good choices. There are others, of course, but these are not bad, I think. So from this little list we have, who do you think should be number one in this list? Who is the most famous British person, in your opinion, of course, from this list?
I think Queen Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, Queen Elizabeth is probably a good choice.
Shakespeare.
And also Shakespeare,
Yes,
because
Shakespeare.
Yes.
yeah, everybody who studies literature around the world knows Shakespeare. So he's also very famous. So maybe we can say it's a tie, number one, between Queen Elizabeth and Shakespeare, right? Maybe. All right, so now we're going to talk about another famous person. And if you like food like I do, I think you will know this person you'll recognize this person very quickly. So let me show you his picture. Do you know this person?
Yes.
Jamie Oliver. Yeah.
It's
Jamie Oliver. Okay, who doesn't know Jamie Oliver here in this group?
Me.
Okay, who's you? Khadija?
Hajar.
Hajar? Who
And
else?
Abrar.
Yeah.
And Abrar. You don't do you like food?
A
Yeah.
little bit.
A little bit. That's why, yeah, because if you like food a lot, I think you will know this this person, this chef. All right, so he's one of the most famous chefs now. He and also Gordon Ramsay. I think maybe Gordon Ramsay is a little more famous than him. Do you know Gordon Ramsay? The mean chef?
Yeah.
The one who's always shouting. So so these two are quite famous. But today we're going to talk a little bit about Jamie Oliver. But before we talk about him, why do you think he's famous? We know that he's a chef or a cook, right? But why do you think he's famous? What's the reason? What do you think? Any guesses? We're just guessing, of course. We still haven't read anything
Best
about
cooker.
it. Maybe he's a very good cook. Maybe
Yes.
He's got good skills. He knows how to cook very well. Maybe, yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Hi, Abdullah. How are you today?
I'm fine, Andy.
I'm okay, thanks. Okay, so we don't have a lot of guesses here. Anyways, so we'll find out why he's famous, and we'll also learn about his life. But first of all, we have a few words here. Let's try to check these words and let's see if we know what they mean. So I'll just read them, and if there are any new words, we'll chat a little bit about them. So the first one is a celebrity. Then we have a chef, a recipe, a TV series, a campaign, the government, fresh ingredients, and the drums. Okay, all of these words. Which of these words is new for you? So we can underline it and talk about it. Celebrity, does everybody know what a celebrity means? When we say
Yes, me.
Is it
Yeah.
new, Abdullah?
Yes.
Okay, so let's underline it. Chef, I think everybody knows chef.
Yes.
Yeah. A recipe.
Yes.
Have you heard of a recipe? Is anybody here new to this word, recipe?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Abdullah, let's underline it. What about TV series? This is also clear, I think. TV series. What about a campaign? A campaign. Have you heard of this word, campaign?
Yes.
It's a new for me.
It's a new word. Okay, let's underline it. Government. I think everybody knows the government and everybody hates it. All right, so the government, is it new? Do all of you know government?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I think government everybody knows. Fresh ingredients. We use fresh ingredients to cook.
Yes.
Yeah, and the drums. Do you know the drums? We play the drums in a band. Bands usually have the drums. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of these words before we talk about Jamie Oliver. So a celebrity is someone who's famous. So, for example, Adele is a celebrity, right? Trump is a celebrity. He's a president, but before he was a president, he was a celebrity.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so everybody knew Trump before he became president. So a celebrity is someone well known, someone who's famous. This is the meaning of celebrity. A recipe. Okay, so a recipe is how you make a meal or how you make some kind of food. And to make a recipe, you need two things. First of all, you need ingredients and instructions, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So for example, if I don't know how to make a cake, I will ask, can anybody help me make a cake? Does anybody have a recipe? If someone says yes, and I take the recipe and I check it, first of all, I'll see ingredients like eggs, flour, baking powder, sugar, you know, these things. And below it, I'll find instructions. For example, mix the eggs with the oil and then whisk them, add some milk, add some flour, put a little bit of baking powder, keep it in the oven.
Like composition.
Yeah, like that. Exactly. Yes, like Sana. Hi, Sana. How are you? Yeah. So how to? I'm okay. I'm fine, thanks. So so instructions is like how to do it. This is the idea. So a recipe has both. All right, a campaign. A campaign. Who can explain campaign in English? Who can try to explain?
Propaganda, maybe.
Propaganda is close. You're close. Okay, give us a little more details. Give us an example, Neiruz, about a campaign. And what do we use campaigns for? Why do we have them? Who starts them?
To know this person.
To promote an idea or...
Very good. To change something, to promote a new idea, correct? Maybe you have a new idea and you want it to become more popular, so you campaign. You try to get supporters, right?
Yeah. Change something you feel it's wrong, maybe for you or for all of people.
Correct.
And do something to change it.
Exactly right. This is what a campaign is. Maybe you believe something is not good enough, maybe you have a better idea, so you start a campaign. For example, let's say I have an idea or a belief that apples are better than bananas. So I start a campaign, I get supporters, I do studies, I have workshops, I have interviews, I start a program or whatever. All of these things I start social media, Twitter and Instagram. All of this is part of my campaign to promote the idea that apples are better than bananas or whatever it is. All right, very nice. So these are some of the words that we'll use in the story, or we'll see in the story. So now we're going to read and listen to the profile of Jamie Oliver. Then match A to E, so A, B, C, D, E. So these headlines, Jamie's early life, campaigning for healthy food, a world-famous chef, family and home life, a restaurant with a difference. So these headlines, we're going to match them with the paragraphs below. So you can see we have 5 paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the paragraphs and these are the headlines. But let me first go to the CD and let me find the track so we can listen and follow. Okay, where is it? Okay. Okay, I think you should hear it now.
Face2face, second edition, Pre-Intermediate, by Chris Redston and Gilly Cunningham. This recording is copyright, Cambridge University Press, 2012. CD 1. Track 1.
Jamie Oliver is one of the world's most famous chefs. You can watch him on TV in over 100 countries and read his recipe books in 29 languages. In fact, Jamie is the UK's second biggest selling author of all time, after J.K. Rowling. There are also Jamie Oliver DVDs, food products, restaurants, magazines, and apps for your phone. Jamie was born in Essex, England, on the 27th of May, 1975. When he was only 8, he started helping in the kitchen in his parents' pub. After Jamie left college, he worked at the famous River Cafe in London for 3 years. He made his first TV series, The Naked Chef, in 1999. Jamie quickly became a celebrity, and in the same year, he cooked lunch for the British Prime Minister. In 2001, Jamie opened a restaurant in London called 15. But it wasn't a typical restaurant. Jamie took 15 young, unemployed people and taught them to become chefs. The programme about the restaurant, Jamie's Kitchen, was on TV every week and became a big success. Jamie now has restaurants all over the UK, and he is going to open restaurants in Australia and other countries around the world in the next 5 years. Jamie is also famous for his Better Food campaigns. In 2005, he made a TV series called Jamie's School Dinners because he wanted schools to give children healthier meals. Because of Jamie's campaign, the British government agreed to spend an extra £280 million on school meals. In another series, Jamie's Ministry of Food, he helped people to stop eating fast food and taught them to cook meals using fresh ingredients instead. Jamie got married in June 2000, and he lives in London and Essex with his wife, Jules, and their 4 children. He loves travelling, playing the drums and riding around London on his scooter. At the moment, Jamie is writing a new book of recipes, and when he's at home, he enjoys relaxing with his family, as well as cooking, of course.
Okay, so which part of Jamie's profile do you think is the most surprising or something you didn't know about Jamie? What do you think? Something surprising about Jamie?
I think when he changed a meal.
First of
in
all,
the
his
school.
age. I thought he was younger.
Okay, so you thought he was younger. This is one thing, age. What did you say, Samiha, before that?
About changing the meals on schools. I think.
Campaigning for healthier school meals, you mean, right?
Yes.
Okay, so his campaigning for school was a bit surprising. His age, any other things that were, I think, surprising or different from you?
The restaurant he opened called 15,
Yes.
where he employed, and he taught them how to cook and become chefs.
Yeah.
So That's new to me.
Yeah, I didn't know about that too when I first read it. So this is also kind of surprising. True. Anything else which is a bit different or special, or what else do you think? Any other information which is surprising? What do you think, Rabia? Anything surprising for you about Jamie Oliver? Nothing? Nothing surprising? Nothing? Nothing surprising about him?
There's something
Yes.
else surprising to me.
Okay, what else?
That the British government actually listened to him and agreed to spend extra money on school meals.
Yeah.
I mean, his campaign had an effect on the government.
True, and everybody knows how tight and stingy the British government is, and he made them pay 280 million, which is quite good. And all of this, of course, benefits the kids, right? This is good for the nation's children. Yeah, it's good for the kids. Yeah. All right. So now let's match these headings that we read in the beginning. Let's match them with the right paragraphs. Okay, so let's start the first heading here, this one, Jamie's early life. Which paragraph talks about Jamie's early life? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? What do you think?
Second paragraph, I think.
The second one?
5.
5?
I agree, yeah.
Number 2 or number 5?
5.
2.
2.
2.
Okay, let's read the heading again. Jamie's early life.
Early life.
2.
Yeah, early life.
Yeah.
2.
I think it's 2. I agree, because here it talks about when he was born and what he did as a child. So maybe the first heading A. So let's match it with paragraph number 2. All right. Now, what about the second heading? Campaigning for healthy food. Which paragraph is this? Campaigning
4.
3.
4.
Yeah, I think it's 4, right?
4.
Yeah.
Yes, 4.
4.
Yeah,
4.
it's 4.
Correct. Okay, so number 4, this is campaigning for healthy food. He wanted healthier food for the children. Okay, now let's check. Headline C is already answered. This is number 1. A world famous chef. So this is paragraph 1. It's already answered. Then we have family and home life.
5.
5.
Correct. That's right. Yeah, because it talks about his wife, his kids, what he does, what he likes. Okay, so this means D is number 5. A restaurant with a difference. Which paragraph is this?
3.
Correct. Yeah, number 3. The hotel, the restaurant which he called 15.
15.
Yeah. All right, very nice. So now we know a little bit about Jamie Oliver. We know about his early life, what he likes to do, how many kids he has, and how he campaigned for better food for British children. Okay, so we can move on and check our next exercise. So in number 5 here, we have some questions. And all of these questions, of course, are about the profile, Jamie Oliver's profile. So it says you read the profile again and then find the answers to these questions. So the first one is used as an example. How does Jamie travel around London? So he does this by scooter. What about number 2? When did he make his first TV series? Who can remember?
1919, I think.
1919?
1999.
1999. 99. Let's check. His first TV series.
I think.
I think that's right.
The Naked Chef, I think.
Yes, it says here, he made his first TV series, The Naked Chef, in 1999. So that's right. So this is his first TV series. It was in 1999. All right, very nice. Okay, second question. What is he writing at the moment?
A new book of recipes.
Correct. He's writing a new recipe book.
Yeah.
A new recipe book. Where does it say? Yeah, this is it. A new book of recipes. So, correct. Right. Okay, what about number 4? Which instrument can he play?
The drums.
The drums is correct.
Drums.
Yeah, he can play the drums. That's right. And how often was Jamie's Kitchen on TV? This program, his program. How often was it on TV?
One
once a
day
week.
once a week, yeah.
Once a week? Let's check. It says here.
In a weekend.
What does it say? It says he was only 8. Yeah. No, not in the first paragraph. Yeah, correct. Every week. James,
Yeah,
in paragraph
week.
3, you can see it in paragraph 3. This is the answer.
Mhm.
So Jamie's Kitchen was on TV every week. Okay, so maybe this is one of the reasons why he's famous, because of his TV program, his TV show. Okay, so how many children has he got?
I've got 4 children.
4.
4. He's got 4, correct. And what about number 7 here? It says, where is he going to open his new restaurants? Who can remember?
Australia and other countries.
Australia, correct. What about the UK? Does he have restaurants in the UK?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
All
of
of
the
the
UK.
country. Oh,
Correct, yeah. He's got restaurants all over the country. Okay, just a second. Okay, let me send a message to the student. Okay. Next question, it says, what does the question say?
8.
Number 8, yeah. How long did he work at the River Cafe?
He worked for
3 years.
3 years?
Yes.
I can't remember how many years. Let's check.
In paragraph 2.
Yeah, it's in paragraph 2. And let's see, what does it say? Yeah, correct. That's correct. He worked for 3 years. Let me just underline it for all of you to see. So he worked at the famous River Cafe in London for 3 years. Okay, that's correct. Yeah, okay. Sorry, just a second. Okay. Let's check question 9 now. Let's go to question 9. Okay, so question 9 says, how old was Jamie when he got married?
I was 25 years.
About 25.
I think 25.
Did you calculate it?
Yes.
that quickly? Okay, but I think you're right. Yes, if he got married in 2000 and he was born in which year?
1975.
Yeah, this means he was 25 when he got married.
He was.
All right. So that's correct. And Okay, now who did he make lunch for in 1999?
The Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's correct. So he made lunch. Was it lunch or was it dinner? I think it was dinner, wasn't it?
Dinner.
Yeah, it was dinner. Yeah, correct. Okay. So.
Okay.
What about number? What is it? Number 11. Why did he make Jamie's school dinners? This program. What was the reason for this? Jamie's school.
Because he want school to give the children healthier food.
Correct. Yeah, he wanted schools to give children healthier food. That's correct.
Meal.
That's the reason why. Yeah. All right. Very nice. And I think it's the last question here. How much did the British government agree to spend on school meals?
Extra.
280
million
pounds.
Dollars.
I think.
Correct. Yeah, 280
pounds. Yeah.
280 million pounds. Was this? I mean, did they spend this all at once, or was it like an annual budget, or what do you think this was? Here I'm just trying to get a guess from you, because it says the British government agreed to spend an extra 280 million on school meals. So
I think
maybe every year.
Will put that.
Annual.
Yeah, it sounds like an annual budget. Maybe they used to spend a certain amount, and now they're spending more.
They raised it.
Yeah, he raised the exactly, yes, he raised the expenditure, or the annual budget, which was allotted for school meals. He increased this. Okay, so these were just some general kind of follow-up questions for the profile. It says do the exercise in language summary, blah blah. Let's take a look at it. Let's see if it's interesting or not. If it's not, I think we can move on. But let me check it. So we have an exercise. All right, this is a nice review, actually. This one on the left, question words. This is the exercise they wanted us to do. So it says write these question words in the table, and we have a few tips. Okay, so let's do this together. It's a nice revision. So if you want to ask about a person, of course, we use who. If you want to ask about time, what do we use?
When.
Correct. So we use when. What about a place? What do we use if we want to ask about
where?
Okay, so let me just mark the ones we answered. So when is for time, where is for place, who and which are already answered. What about reason? If we want to ask about reason.
Why?
That's correct. What about if you want to ask about a thing, but you have a lot of possible answers?
How much? How many?
How many?
Countable nouns.
Okay, but how many is it for? What is it for? Is it for things, or is it for a number?
A numbers.
Number.
I think it's. I think how many is for numbers,
How many
right?
for numbers? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think if we're asking about a thing, so let's say I'm asking you, or things, yeah. So I'm asking you about your preference. For example, if I ask you what color do you like, and I offer you, let's say, 15 colors. So here, what would be a better question word than which. But if I give you, for example, 2 colors or maybe 3, and I tell you which one do you prefer, black, white, or yellow? So which is better here, because there is a smaller. So this is actually the only real reason. The only real difference between which and what. Which you have fewer choices, fewer possible answers. Do you get the idea? Which. But but what you have more. That's the general idea. So actually for number 6, a thing with many possible answers, what is the right answer? What? Yeah. Okay. Now, what about a number? If you want to ask about a number.
How many?
How many?
How much? Numbers.
How much if it's
Numbers,
uncountable?
not
How many?
money.
Yes, how many? Yes.
Yeah.
Money.
If it's a number, this means you can count it. It's countable, right? So if I'm asking you about a number of the number of books you have, or if I'm asking you about the number of cars you have, these are countable things. So you can give me a number. You can say 2, 3, 1, whatever. All right, now a period of time.
How often?
How long?
How long? How long is actually correct, yeah?
Yeah.
How long, because it shows us the period. So if I say, for example, how long do you spend studying English every day? How long do you spend? Or how much time do you spend? We can also use how much time. It's also okay. But how long usually it's good for periods. All right, age. I think this one is easy. Everybody knows this. For age.
How old?
Correct. How old? How old is right. A way of doing something. If you want to know, I don't want to use the word. If you want to know the way of doing something, yeah, how? It's hard to explain. How actually? Because how shows you the way of doing something. So if I ask you, how can you make a cake? How do you make a cake? So you give me a recipe. The recipe shows me how, right? It has instructions. So this is how. This is how you can make a cake. Okay, and the last one. Where's the last one? The amount of money. I think this one is easy. The amount of money. How do we ask about money?
How much?
How much?
How much?
How much?
Correct, correct. And the number of times you do something.
How
often?
How often? Yeah, this is the reason why we use how often a lot with adverbs of frequency. So if someone asks you a question with how often, you can always answer by saying, how often do you study English? I always study English. I study English every day. I study English twice a week, and so on. So how often is a good question to ask about repetition. How many times you repeat this activity or this action. All right, so we got all the answers correct. All of them are right. Now we have a few tips. Let's take a look at the tips. So the first tip here, it says, okay, just a second, let me check. Oops, just a second. Can you hear us, Noha? Can you hear us? I'm not sure if you can hear us. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, is it working now? Is it working now? You can hear us? I think it's working. All right. Okay, if you can hear us, that's great. Now we have a few tips. The first tip, it says, we can often use which or what with no difference in meaning. You can say, which newspaper do you read? What newspaper do you read? So you can use both of them to talk about options here. The next tip, it says, we use whose to ask about possessions, right? So for example, if you want to ask about the owner of something or the owner of any kind of property, you ask whose. So if I ask whose book is this or whose car is that, it means I want to know the owner. You can say, this is Ahmed's car, this is Mike's book, this is, and so on, okay? So this is whose. And I think sometimes whose is usually confused with who is. Yeah, but they're not the same. They're kind of different. Whose is about the owner of a possession. So whose book is this? Whose course is this? Whose cat is this, or whatever it is? So we want to know the owner. This is the meaning. Whose pen is this? You have to give the name of the owner. It's Ahmed's pen. It's Miha's pen. It's, and so on. Okay, last tip. We use what kind or what sort of or what type of to ask about which thing, activity, etc. do you like? Okay. So I think this one is kind of obvious. What kind of food do you like? So if you're asking about a type or you want something a little specific, you can always ask what kind. What kind of cars do you like? What sort of food do you prefer? What kinds of, for example,
what kind of sport would you like to play?
Yes, that's correct. What kind of sport do you like to play? This is also a common question. So here, kind, sort, type, they all have, it's almost the same meaning. So you're asking about the variety of something, the type. Okay, so I think this is clear now. We can go back. So let's go back. And let's do our next exercise. I think it's a grammar exercise. Let's check. So we did number 5 just now. Let's check number 6. Okay, we finished number 5. We checked the language summary exercise. All right, let's see. Number 6 is on the other side. Here he is pouring some olive oil. Okay, so here we have a little bit of grammar. Now this grammar exercise is sort of, you can think of it as a nice revision to 4 different tenses, 4 different grammar tenses. So we have present simple, past simple, present continuous, and of course be going to. So all of these were included in elementary A and B, but now we want to just kind of combine them together to answer this question. So the first question, question 6A, it says match the words, phrases in bold in Jamie's profile to these verb forms. So we need to take a look at the verb forms first, okay? So present simple, present continuous, past simple, and be going to. Now, I don't know if you paid attention or not, but in the profile, we have some bold words, right? So let me just box them here for you. So we have this, we have this.
Past.
And okay, what's the first one, Hannah? Worked.
Past simple.
Past simple. Worked is past simple, correct? Worked, yeah. What about the next one? Is going to, and he's going to open.
Simple future. Simple future.
Yeah, this one is be going to.
Going to.
Be going to. Verb to be going to, yeah. For the future, yeah. Lives, I think it's already answered. Yeah.
Present simple.
Present simple.
Present simple.
Lives, present simple. Is writing. Jamie's writing.
Present continuous.
Simple.
Simple or continuous?
Continuous.
Yeah.
Is writing.
Correct, correct. So this is the first sort of introduction question. I think straightforward, not too hard. So let's write the verbs we found. We found worked. This is past simple. Is writing. This is present continuous. And with the be going to, is going to open. Yeah, he's going to open. All right. So these are some of the different tenses we used in.
I have a question, teacher.
Yeah,
Excuse
go
me.
ahead. Sure. What's
Is
the
going
question?
to open. Is going to. Is it the same with simple future?
What's simple future?
When we use will.
No, there are a few differences. Both of them talk about the future, but they're not the same. Will is usually either for a prediction or something that you're not sure about, or something that you decided at the moment of speaking right now. So, so let's say your friend calls you, and maybe your, I don't know, your brother, your mother, someone at home says, "Oh, Muhammad called you," and you reply and you say, "Oh, okay, I'll call him later." So you didn't plan to call him. You didn't know he even called you, right? You made that decision then at the moment of speaking. I'll call him. So this is will. You use it to make a decision at the moment of speaking. And you can also use it for predictions. You can say, "I think it'll probably rain tomorrow. It'll probably rain. It'll be a cloudy day tomorrow." So will is useful in this way. But going to is going to open. This is like a plan. So when Jamie, when here in the profile, when it says Jamie's going to open restaurant, it means this is all planned. He filled in the papers, he paid the taxes, he built the building itself or rented it or whatever. He has staff. You get the idea. It's going to happen. So if you say, for example, "I'm going to travel next week," it means you've booked your hotel, you've bought your tickets, you've taken holiday or paid leave or something from your job. So there's a bit of a difference. They're both about the future, but not in the same way.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, so these are some of the tenses we used in the profile. Now in part B here, it says, look at the table, notice how we usually make questions, and then write questions number 2 to 4 in the table. Okay, so this is a mini review for, I think, questions. So let's put these questions, where are they? Number 2 to 4. Number 2 to 4, I can't see them. From table 5, okay. Okay, so they want us basically to copy the questions from the other side of the page. So let's do that, okay? So it says, write questions number 2 to 4. So let me put them in a little box for you here. So these are the questions they're talking about. Can you see them in exercise 5? These 3 questions, can you see them on the left side? Can everybody see them?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so we just want to copy them in this little table. So we want to know what's what. We want to know the differences in question words, in auxiliaries, and learn a little bit about them. So the first one they used as an example is, how does Jamie travel around London? So what kind of question is this? What's the tense used here? Who can tell me? What's the verb form here?
Simple future.
Okay, any other answers?
No, it's present simple, I mean.
Why do you think it's present simple?
Present simple.
Present simple.
Okay, it's correct. It is
we used
because of does.
That's it. That's what I wanted to hear. Yeah, right. Exactly, it's present simple. It's a WH question, present simple, because we have does. Nice. All right, now, next question, number 2. Let's write question number 2 in the table, and let's try to break it down. So what's the question word in number 2 here?
Why?
Is it why or when?
When.
Yeah. What about the auxiliary?
Did.
What's the auxiliary?
What?
What's the subject here?
right. He.
And what's the, okay. So when did he make? And then we have the complement. His first TV series. All right. Now, what about this question? What kind of question is
Past
this?
simple.
It's
Past simple.
And how do we know it's the past simple?
Did.
Because
Past
it's
simple.
did.
Because we have did, exactly. All right, now, question number 3. What's the question word here?
What?
What?
What's
And
writing at the moment?
what is?
What
That's
is.
it. The auxiliary is, and
He.
the subject, he.
Writing.
And the verb?
Writing.
All right. So I think this one is clear.
Present
Yes, present continuous.
continuous.
That's it. So this question is a present continuous question. What is he writing at the moment? And the last one is, which instrument can he play? All right, so can we put it, which? Where's the auxiliary here? Can. Yeah. Where's the subject?
He.
Okay.
Play.
And the verb?
Play.
Correct. So which instrument? An instrument is with which, because it's a
With which, yes.
yeah, it's a question about the type of instrument. So which instrument can he play? Correct. So what's this kind of question about? What does it ask about?
Present simple. Present simple.
It's
Present simple.
It's present simple.
Present simple.
Yeah, okay, but can we be a little more specific? What kind of present simple? I'll give you a little hint.
Can.
Yeah.
Play.
Verb to can.
Verb play.
I think verb to can.
Yeah, we have can here. And why do we use can? For what do we use can? To ask about what?
To know about if he can.
Ability. That's exactly right. If we want to know if someone has the ability, if someone can do something, when you can say, I can speak French, it means you're able to speak French. You have the ability to speak French. Do you get the idea?
Yes.
So this is the meaning of can. I think we have a little bit of noise. Okay. So let's continue. So this is a little, it's a little all-in-one revision of different. Okay. Okay, if you have a little bit of noise, can you please use mute and just unmute it? And mute it when you want to talk. I think the noise is coming from Abrar, I think. Abrar, do you have your kids playing?
No.
Your sisters now? Okay, we want to find the criminal here now. Okay, anyways. So if you think it's noisy, just mute, and when you want to answer, just unmute, okay? It's easy, mute, unmute. All right, let's continue. So we answered part B. Let's go to part C now. So let's take a look at question 5. We have an interesting question here. Why don't we, here's number 5. It says here, why don't we use an auxiliary in question number 5? Who can tell me? So the
Maybe
question
because
Salma? Past simple?
Maybe.
Was.
Okay, you're kind of right. It is about the past. Okay.
How often?
How often was Jamie's Kitchen on TV? Any other guesses? Why don't we use an auxiliary in question 5?
Maybe because was don't need auxiliary.
Okay, this is another good guess. What do you think, Hannah?
لأن ما فيش فعل. He was.
But was, it's a verb, right?
Yes, it's verb to be.
It's verb to be in the past. Okay, so we'll find out why. We'll find out in a minute because we'll check the revision here, the summary. So we'll find about that. But what about number 2 here? What is the verb in question number 6?
Got.
Just a second.
Has.
Got.
Is it has or is it got?
Got.
Got.
What do you think? Which one? Yeah.
Got.
But has, is it a verb or not a verb? Has.
Auxiliary verb.
That's it. Very good.
Auxiliary.
It's an auxiliary. So has is the auxiliary verb and got is the main verb.
Remember.
All right. So we have two verbs here, the main verb and the auxiliary verb. Okay. Okay. So we found out question number 2. We answered. All right. Now let's check number 7. It says, look at question number 7. When do we use questions with be going to? I think we sort of answered it earlier when Mohammed asked me, but
yes.
So let's take a look here. So it says, when do we use questions with be going to? Okay, you can answer me.
And for planning.
For future. For future what?
Going to.
When you
going to at the moment, يعني, or planning.
Plans for future.
Something in the wings.
Okay, but what's
now?
What's the definition of a plan? When you plan something, is it something that you do now?
No, in the future.
Okay, of course, you will do it in the future, but I mean, the planning, is the planning in the present, or is the planning maybe in the past, or is it a little bit of both?
Yeah, the planning.
What do you think?
The planning is in the present.
Okay.
The action is to be done in the future.
Okay, so the action is in the future. I think all of us agree. But I'm talking even about the plan. If you think about it, the plan is not in the present. The plan is kind of in the past, right?
Past, yeah.
Yeah.
Because if I say now, if I tell you, let's say I'm going to share with you one of my plans for next week, okay? So next week, or let me give you another easier plan. Let's say I'm going to have a sandwich after the lesson. I'm going to have a sandwich after the lesson. Now, do you think I planned this right now when I just said it, or do you think I've already had this idea in my mind for a while? What do you think?
It's already.
The correct answer is, this is not something I thought of now, right? This is something I've already thought about before I spoke. So it's kind of in the past. Because if it's something that you just said now without planning it, it's better to use will.
It's already in your mind, yeah.
It's already on my mind. So if it's already on my mind, this is a plan. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I'm planning to execute some kind of action in the future. So here, when we say, where is he going to open his new restaurants? This means Jamie Oliver didn't just, you know, he already was thinking about this, and maybe he saw the success of his UK restaurants. So he started making some arrangements, some plans, some investments. He started looking for staff, job interviews, you know, renting old restaurants, good areas, lawyers, blah, blah, you know? So this is the idea. So going to, there's always some kind of plan, and the keyword is plan with going to, be going to. But let's check the answers. Let's check the especially number 1, because number 1 is an interesting question, and let's find out about it. So let me take you to the summary of this question, and let's find out. Okay, so we were doing 1.1 just now, okay? So we finished the table, okay? So these are the answers of the table we were just completing. Now here we have a few questions, a few tips. So be, have got, and be going to. So it says here, this is the answer to the first question we couldn't answer, the first one. We don't use do, does, or did to make questions with be.
Oh.
All right, so I always, I like to use this little metaphor. I always try to tell students that do, does, and did, think of them as Real Madrid, and verb to be, think of it as Barcelona. They'll never be friends. No matter how many matches they play together, you'll never find them together. Do you get the idea? They don't come in the same sentence. And if you think a little more, I mean, if you think deeply about it, verb to be is always about the subject itself. So what's verb to be in Arabic, first of all? Kainuna, right. But if you think of it in Arabic, do we use it or we don't use it, or what's the story here with Arabic? Verb to be in Arabic.
No, we don't use verb to be in Arabic.
I think we do. If you say أنا كنت
But
طالب.
in general, we don't use them.
But take a look at this example بالليبي هذه. أنا كنت طالب. أنا كنت مدرسة فوق مثلا, right? أنا كنت. So here I'm using was.
Yes.
معناها أن, صح?
أن.
But change this to the present. How is it in the present in Arabic?
أنا أكون.
Do we use that؟ في حد يستعمل فيها أنا أكون طالب؟
No.
هذا اللي نقصد أن يكون.
Yeah, I know. I'm just tricked you. That's all. But you're right. The thing is, in Arabic, we don't use it in the present, but we use it in the past. اللي هو أنا فعل كان فعل ماضي ناقص, right? So in the past we use was and were نستعمله فين في العربي. لكن في مشكلتنا في present we don't use it. Do you get the idea? So we don't say أنا أكون وأنت تكون هي تكون. But in English you have to do it even in the present. This is the main difference. But the idea is action verbs, which usually come with present simple or past simple. For example, does he play football? Does he wake up early? Does he make coffee? Does he drive well? All of these verbs, these activity verbs, action verbs, drive, play, drink, sleep, whatever. We can easily use them with do, does, and did, no problem. But they don't go with was. Do you get the idea? Was تحسها تمشي مع السtate أحسن. So you can use it. He was happy. He was late. Or for example, he's a great student, and so on. So there's also a fundamental difference in the meaning of was and were, and verb to be in general, and do, does, and did. Okay. So I always want you to think of them as two very different things. Sometimes in books they group them together as present simple, present or past simple. They put them together, but in reality you cannot mix them. You cannot put them in the same sentence. All right. So this is the only thing we didn't answer. So this is the reason why in this question, how often was Jamie's kitchen on TV? We can't use do, does, or did, because they're from a completely different family from verb to be. Okay. Let's see, any other points? I think we answered this correctly. Have got, to ask about family relationships and possessions. Have you got a car? Has he got? We answered this correctly. Okay, so this is, again, they answered it also very briefly. It says, we use be going to for future plans. Okay, so it's something that you've planned and you want to do it in the future. All right, so I think now this is clear. We can go back to exercise. All right, so let's continue. Okay, so here, number 7, I'd like you to think about these questions here. So it says, look again at question 5.a, answer these questions. We finished this part. Okay, number 7. So we want to make these sentences into sentences, these words into sentences. So who would like to do number 2? Let's see. Let's choose someone. Selma, are you there?
Yeah.
All right, Selma, would you like to do number 2?
Okay. How many have you got brother and sisters?
Okay, try it again.
How many have you got brother and sisters?
But how many what?
How many have you got brothers and sisters?
Okay. Not quite. Let's see someone else. Let's see, maybe Abdullah. Would you like to try, Abdullah? Number 2. How many?
Can I try again?
Okay, try again.
How many brothers and sisters have you got?
All right, that's it. How many brothers and sisters have you got? Okay, what about number 3? Let's see. Okay, Naha, can you hear us, Naha? Are you there? I don't think you can hear us.
Yes, I'm trapped.
Abrar, would you like to try?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Abrar.
Why you are studying English?
I think you need to change it a little bit.
Or are you?
Yes.
Why are you studying English?
That's it. That's also correct. Why are you studying English is correct. Let's see someone else. I'm picking this.
Can I try?
Who are you?
Haja.
Haja. I think Haja, you already know it. We're choosing the we're choosing the students who are hiding. Rabia, hi Rabia. Would you like to try it, Rabia? Number 4.
Let me try, teacher.
Number 4.
Yeah, go ahead, Rabia. Give it a try. I want you to just put it in. Again? Can you say it again?
Which other language can you speak?
Okay, I think your internet is a little...
Which other language can you speak?
That's it. That's it. Which other languages can you speak? Okay, good.
Can you?
Yeah, I can hear you now. We heard your answer, correct? Okay, let's see. Okay. Hannah, would you like to do? Number 5?
What's your restaurant favorite or coffee?
Okay.
What's your restaurant or coffee favorite?
We usually use adjectives before nouns, right, Hannah?
What is your favorite restaurant or coffee?
Okay, that's it. That's correct. Let's see, who else do we have? Samiha, are you there?
Yes.
Would you like?
What did you do last New Year's Eve?
Nice. Okay, let's choose someone from our guests. I think
Yes.
two. Okay, Mohammed. Okay, go ahead.
What are you going to do next week? Weekend.
Okay. I think that's correct, but let's check. We have a little listening track. Let's use it to confirm.
Okay.
Where do you live?
2.
How many brothers and sisters have you got?
3.
Why are you studying English?
4.
Which other languages can you speak?
5.
What's your favourite restaurant or cafe?
6.
What did you do last New Year's Eve?
7.
What are you going to do next weekend?
Okay. All right, so these are the answers. This means all of the answers were correct. Okay, let's take a look at number 8 here. So number 8, let's write questions. Write 8 questions to ask another student. Use these ideas or your own. Okay, so let's use some of these questions. Maybe you can change them a little bit. and let's use them to ask each other. So let's start with, what do we have here? Okay, Abrar, you can ask any of your classmates. So Abrar, you can ask Abdullah, okay? So here I'd like you to ask him any of the questions above. Of course, you can change them a little bit if you want, but you can use the same question, okay? And he will answer you. All right, so you can start, Abrar. Are you there? معنا Abrar?
Which question?
Here, the questions in number 7, these questions. So I'd like you to ask 3 of these questions. Choose any 3 you want, and you can ask Abdullah. Okay?
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Which other language can you speak?
English or Arabic. English.
Okay, which other language can you speak? Other languages, English. Okay, it's a good question. Ask him another question, Abrar. Any other question?
Why are you studying English?
It's a good question. Abdullah, why are you studying English? Are you there? Can you hear us, Abdullah?
Yes. Because I want to study it.
Do you want to study it, or do you have to study it?
Yes.
I think it's a mix of both, right? You want to, but also you have to, I think. What's the difference between want to do something and to have to do something? Here, these 2 questions. And what's the difference between
I want
these 2?
to, it's something optional, more optional.
All right.
But I have to, it's something is, you should do it.
Okay, I think it's a little stronger than should, right?
Yeah.
You must be.
It's like you must, or you're forced.
Yeah.
It's not something optional. It's necessary to do this, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Abdullah, do you want to study English, or do you have to study English? What do you think, Abdullah, about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Do you want to study English, or do you have to? Huh?
Yes, I have to study.
Okay. All right. So now we found the truth. Okay, Abrar, one last question. You can ask Abdullah a last question.
Okay. What's your favorite restaurant or cafe?
Do you have a favorite restaurant or cafe, Abdullah?
Can you say it again?
Okay, Abrar, can you repeat the question?
What's your favorite restaurant or cafe?
Nescafe.
Okay, but here remember, Abdullah, we're not asking مش نوع القهوة نفسها، على المكان. مثلا المقهى أو مطعم. لو عندك أنت مقهى أو مطعم مفضل, if you have a favorite restaurant, but if you don't, تقدر تقول I don't have a favorite restaurant. هذه إجابة صحيحة. مثلا لو ما عندكش ما عندكش مثلا أفضلية, you can say I don't have a favorite with a U in British English. I don't have a favorite restaurant or cafe. هذا يمشي حالة. It's a good answer. All right, let's see someone else. Let's choose one of our. Okay, Salma, you can ask Hannah, Salma, or Salma, you can ask Rabia. Choose any. Salma, you asked. Let's choose some. Al-Abrar. Okay, I'm confusing the names because you have so many people today. Okay, so Salma, I'd like you to ask Rabia, please. Okay, are you there, Salma? Salma is not there. Okay, let's choose Noha. Are you there? Can you hear us, Noha? Would you like to ask a few questions? Noha is quiet, also not there. All right, so Rabia, this means you can ask Hannah, okay?
Yeah, yes, I hear it.
Noha, you can hear us? All right, great. Noha, can you speak closer to the mic, please? Noha?
Yes, I hearing.
Yeah, but I'm تقدر تكلمي في المايك قربي من المايك لو سمحتي. Okay. All right.
Hearing me now?
أحسن شوية توا. It's a little better.
Yes. Can you hearing me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you. All right, so Noha, choose any 3 questions, okay? Any 3 questions you like, and Abdullah will and Rabia will tell you a little bit.
Question 7.
Yeah, from number 7. Yeah. So you can choose from 7. Hello? Okay, hello. Or for example, I'm going to stay in. Opposite of go out. I'm going to watch a film. In other verbs, you have to use the infinitive, ضروري, to play, to stay, to watch, to sleep, whatever. But with go, it's optional actually. You can say I'm going to the park. هو المفروض لو نتبع القاعدة you have to use I'm going to go. لو نتبع القاعدة بشكل كامل I'm going to go to the park. لكن يعني في من everyday language بدون ما يعني تسامحوا فيها قصة الجو الثانية لأنه واضح من السياق. حتى لو قلتي I'm going to the park واضح الموضوع. Okay, so only with go it's optional, but with other infinitives you have to write them. Okay, very nice. So we used a few examples here. So let me show you our next topic here. We're going to talk about something called supercommuters. Supercommuters. So this word, I'm not sure if you know this word, but let's talk a little bit about it. Who knows what this word means? Supercommuters. Who's heard of this word before? Commuter, or the verb commute. It's not related to computers. I know it sounds a little bit the same, but it's not the same. And commute is the verb. Any guesses? Who can guess? All right. Samiha, would you like to guess? Who's talking? شكل الخط ضعف شوي عندكم. سميحة.
I think commute.
Okay, Samiha, yes. What do you think? Commute. What's the meaning? Just guess. What do you think?
I think number 1 of summary.
Okay, I didn't hear you, Samiha. I think الخط ضعيف شوي عندك. Can you repeat that again, please? Okay, I'll talk about commute. So a commuter is, or commute, to commute. This means this is your journey, your everyday journey from home to work and from work to home. To get the idea. So this is the meaning of commute. Commute is going from home to your job or to your office or to work, and going back home in the afternoon or in the evening. Okay, so this daily trip to work, home to work, work to home. So if we want to use it like this, if we want to draw it in a way, let's draw it to make it a little clearer. So if you think of it like this, let's think of it like this. So this is your commute. So from home, you go to work, and then from work, you go home. This is called a commute, okay? So traveling to work and back home. So what do you think a supercommuter means? So now we know what commute and commuter means, but what do you think supercommuter means? Is it like a commuter with superpowers who can fly to work, for example? Do you think this is the meaning?
No.
No. Okay, any other guesses? Why the word super? Maybe. Okay, so
maybe to someone is as far away from his work.
Yes, very, very good guess. Maybe because of the distance, maybe someone who lives too far away from home, right? So we can call this person a super commuter. I think that's a good answer.
Or maybe someone who hasn't a car or something he can go with. So.
Okay, but if you don't have a car, or if you don't have something to go with, you have to use some kind of public transportation, right?
Yeah, but it's very hard. So.
True, it can be hard if you don't have a car, but I think it depends on the city. Maybe in Libya it's impossible or almost impossible to work without a car. But I think in many countries around the world, you don't need a car to work, right? You can use the tram, you can use the metro, you can use a bus.
Yeah.
There are different ways. All right, so this is the meaning of commute and commuter. We talked a little bit about it. Now let's start with some words here in number 1. We have a little bit of vocabulary. So let's check these words. It says here, collocations. I think the students here from elementary, I think you remember what collocations means. What does it mean, collocations? Who can tell me? When we use a collocation, what does it mean? Who can guess?
Means word.
Okay, a word. Not collection. Neyruz, what do you think, Neyruz? Collocations, maybe you can remember some collocations from your previous courses.
Collocation.
A collocation. Okay, I'll give you a very simple example, and I want you to tell me what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's add.
Something related to the same thing. It's a word related to the same thing, maybe.
Okay, you're kind of close, but take a look at these examples. So,
Maybe noun and noun or noun.
Okay, so we do need to use a noun. So yes, we sometimes use
Or
nouns.
preposition.
Or maybe phrases, not really prepositions.
Phrases, okay.
But with collocations, there's also usually a verb. But let's take this very simple example with coffee, okay? So I drink. Which one do you think sounds the best to you? I drink coffee in the morning. I have coffee in the morning. I do coffee in the morning. I take coffee in the morning.
I have coffee.
Who said I have coffee?
I have, I think.
Who said I have?
Morning.
Okay. Okay, I just want to see who thinks have is the best one. And who thinks other answers? Who has another answer? What do you think? Don't be shy. We're just guessing here.
I have, I think.
Actually, correct. I have is the best one. There's no real reason why, but this is a collocation that's used a lot in English. This is how natives talk about usually food and drink. They don't say drink and eat. For example, even breakfast. If you say you can say I take. I'm just giving you options here. I take 9. I have breakfast. I do breakfast. And I eat breakfast. Which one do you think here is the best? I take breakfast.
I have.
Or I have breakfast at 9. I do breakfast at 9. Or I eat breakfast at 9.
I have breakfast.
I have breakfast.
That's correct. So in reality, I have breakfast and I have coffee. These are the best two sentences. And the reason is because the verb have, it collocates well with food and drink. So anything you eat or anything you drink, it's better to use have to talk about it instead of saying I drink coffee or I eat breakfast. In Arabic, of course, it's the opposite. We don't use have. We just say ناكل فطوري نشرب قهوتي, right? So it doesn't translate. So collocations don't always translate. So if you want to think of it in a very simple way, a collocation means matching a verb with a noun or a phrase. This is the idea. In this example, we're going to do some collocations, and all of these collocations are related to work. All right. So we want to group these words, and the verb that we want to collocate اللي حنوصلوه أو نجمعوه, or I don't know how you want to translate collocation. The verb is work. Okay. So we have 3 categories for work. So you either work in a place, or you work for a company, or you work with people, with individuals, right? So if it's a place, you should use in. So you can say, I work in a restaurant. Do you get the idea? So here, so this is the first group, work in a restaurant, all right? So you work in a restaurant. But if it's a company, you work for a company. So you can say, I work for a fashion company. I work for a fashion company. And you can also use with. I work with, if you want to talk about people, maybe you work with, maybe you're a school teacher, maybe you're a kindergarten teacher, right? Or maybe you're a pediatrician. Maybe you're a pediatrician, so you work with children. So you can say, I work with children, all right? Now what we want to do is, do you see this nice box we have on the left side? We want to match these words, not match, we want to group these words, put them in the right category. So let's start with the first one. Unemployed people, where do you think it works? Where do you think it goes?
With people.
Right. So it's
With.
best to say work with unemployed people. Okay, what about an office? Where do you think this goes?
In.
In an office.
Yes. Why do you want to use? Why do you want to use? That's it.
Because it's a place.
Correct. That's right. What about an airline? What do you think?
N.
Any other
N.
guesses?
4.
It's one of 3 options. It's either in or for or with, but you need to be a little more specific, and you need to tell me why. Where do you think it goes?
I think it's go for because it's a company.
A company, yes.
Correct. Correct.
Or
4 is the right answer because airlines are companies at the end, right? If you think of them, Afriqiya or Libya, all of these are companies, really, if we think of them.
Yeah.
All right. So you work for an airline. What about a multinational? What is a multinational, anyways? Who can guess a multinational? What do you think?
People from different countries, maybe.
Okay, it's a good guess, but it's not really about people. A multinational is actually, it means
about companies.
It's about a company, correct?
Yeah.
Multi-branches.
Yeah, it's a multinational company. Like all big companies are multinational. For example, Apple, Samsung. It means they have branches all over the world.
Many branches, yes.
That's the idea. So it's a company, so you should say
For
a
multinational.
So you work for a multinational.
For multinational.
That's right, for a multinational. All right, now what about a factory?
Factory.
Place.
In
a factory.
It's a place, right?
Factories.
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe you work in a factory.
Yes.
What about teenagers?
In a factory.
With.
Correct. Teenagers are people, so you work with teenagers. What about disabled people?
With.
People.
Yeah, they're also people.
With.
All right, now what about a hospital?
And
Place.
It's a place. Yeah, it's a building. So you work in a hospital. You work in a hospital. Hospital. All right, what about an engineering company?
For.
Yeah, because it's a company.
Yes.
For engineering company.
All right. And what about volunteers?
With.
People. With.
In.
Volunteers
volunteers.
What does volunteer really mean? Who can tell me? A volunteer.
People work for free.
work for 3 years.
Yeah, people who work for free. Okay. What about a hotel?
Place.
I think it's a place. You can't think of hotels as companies, but it's a bit weird. I don't think we can say work for a hotel. Maybe in a hotel is a little better. So you work in a hotel. What about an advertising agency? An advertising agency. What do you think?
Companies?
Yeah, advertising agencies are usually companies, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So let's check. Advertising agency. All right, so now let's take a look. Let's check these answers and maybe you can find a little extra tips on page 129. So let's confirm this. 27, I mean. All right, now here we have collocations about work. All right, so I think all of the answers are correct. So you work in a restaurant, you work in an office, you work in a factory, you work in a hospital, you work in a hotel. That's correct. and you work for a fashion company, you work for an airline, for a multinational, you work for an engineering company, and you also work for an advertising agency. You work with children, you work with unemployed people, you work with teenagers, you work with disabled people, and you also work with volunteers. And here there's an extra tip. It says, if you want to talk about home, it's best to use at. I work at home. So this is actually true for me. This is my sentence. I work at home. All right, so if you want to use home, just use at. Here we have a little definition. I think we know what the words mean, but maybe multinational, because we talked a little bit about it. So this is the definition of multinational. It's a large company that makes and sells things in many countries. So you can think of, Sony, Toyota, Pepsi, Coca-Cola. All of these are multinationals. They have branches all over the world. The rest of them are, I think, clear. All right, so this is our first exercise from the new lesson here. And I think that's all for today. So in our next lesson, we'll talk a little more about these words, how to use them. We'll also talk a little bit about word stress. So we'll talk a little bit about word stress. So how to pronounce words correctly. So it's children, not children. So it's restaurant, not restaurant, right? So the difference between these words, between the right way or the correct pronunciation and the incorrect pronunciation, is often stress. So it's mobile, not mobile. It's laptop, not laptop, right? All of this is called word stress. So in our next lesson, we'll learn a little more about word stress, how to pronounce words correctly, and how to pay attention to word stress in order to improve our pronunciation. So we'll do that. What else? We'll talk about, travel, and we'll read about these supercommuters. So we have a very nice article about two supercommuters, Sarah and Luke, and we'll find out that they commute every day from very, very far away. So we'll do that. So this is all in our next lesson. So thank you everyone for attending, and for our guests.
Thank you, Doctor, very much.
You're welcome. If you're interested to know more about the course, feel free to send me. You're welcome, no problem. Feel free to send me a message if you want more information. And for our registered students, the subscribed students المشتركين معنا, please remind me to send you the books, okay? فقط ذكروني اليوم المسجلين معنا أصدقائنا سميحة هنا. Okay, can you please remind me مرات لو نسيت أو كذا بحيث نبعث لكم الكتب. All right? Okay then.
Okay.
All right, so see you next time. Have a good night, and thank you everyone for joining. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Good night.
Shukran. Bye.
Bye.